All right, it's great to be coming into this next session with another one of our panelists from today's Financial Security Forum and what we've been going through in Financial Security 2030. Mike Mathweg, who is one of the industry experts in building up agencies, helping to get them in a position to be sold or acquire other agencies, books of business, really legacy, right? It's really about legacy. And so legacy kind of has three parts to it. And I want to spend a few minutes going back through some of that related to what we've been talking about today, starting with a legacy has to have a beginning. And that beginning is, how do you attract the talent into the business, a business that doesn't necessarily come to the top of young people's heads. Yet there's a lot here. And so to start the journey, you've got to bring people in the front door of this business, then nurture them to get it to a point where you're building up a business. And then what are you going to do on the other side of that? So let's start at the beginning with talent. Where do we find the talent? How do we find the talent? How do we make it exciting for them? Where does it begin?
Yeah. So talent just starts with asking, really. Like, there's people out there that want to work, and just finding the right people to fit your culture.
Yep.
Because every agency is different. Every agency has their own culture that fits their model. And when I look at bringing on new talent, step number one is mentorship.
Yep.
The right people want to find a mentor and continue to grow. And that growth isn't micromanaging that most people think about. It's the growth of, how do you develop them to become the best version of themselves?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to ask yourself as an agency owner, it's like, who did I need the most when I was building my business?
And what was that experience for you?
I was extremely fortunate. I had a fantastic mentor when I was getting into the business who really kind of just paved the way for me. It's like, hey, here's how to sell. And he was a fantastic mentor. He allowed me to enter and exit as quickly as I did. And at the end of the day, I had a shot of ownership.
Yep.
In the agency.
Yep.
And when I had that shot, I took it. I remember the exact place I was standing in my house when we first talked about it. I just bought a brand new house, and I was like, just had my first kid. And I was like, I want it. No idea where the financing or anything was coming from,
Yeah.
but I said, hey, let's do it.
Yep.
And we made it happen.
And how long had you been in the business from day one to that point?
Roughly 3.5, 4 years.
Well, that's lightning speed. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Like,
how did you first open the door to come in to begin with?
My insurance background actually is kind of unique. I started when I was in college as an intern at a captive carrier. And I approached him when I was graduating college. And he said, Mike, you're not ready. I was like, wow, okay. Like, I want to go work for you. And he goes, no, go get a job. So I worked at a bank for 2.5 years. And I messaged him the year later. And I said, hey, I'm ready. Let's do this. And he goes, okay. And he was that mentor that I needed at the time.
Yep.
He showed me the process. He showed me how to prospect, how to write applications, how to service. And that's where, like, new talent, that's what they want. They want to be able to be shown a proven process to keep on growing.
Yep.
And gave me that leadership that I needed at the time. And then, like I said, when I had the opportunity of ownership, you jump on it. You don't just wait. You always, somebody I learned a long time ago is say yes to everything.
And then figure the rest out
and then
later.
figure it out later. So I had that shot of ownership, and I said, hey, let's do it.
Yep.
And then figured out, how am I going to do it?
Well, if nothing describes the American way better than that, I don't know what does. So how do you then get, now you've got a mature business, whether it takes 3 years or 30 years, how do you get that ready then to transition? How does somebody monetize that business, leaving behind a legacy, that can be carried on maybe by others, whether it's family or whoever. How do you take that next step? You come in the business, you grow in the business. How do you successfully leave the business and hopefully leave it rich?
Yeah, great question. And when it talks about legacy, I look at legacy two different ways. Legacy on the business side or legacy on the financial side. Because let's face it. My wife knew I was in insurance, but she really didn't know what I did.
Yeah.
Because I was in it day to day. She was not.
Yeah.
And she just knew money was coming in and I was making money the right way.
Yeah.
And when you look at succession planning, leaving that legacy, you have to decide, which route do I want to go? Do I want to leave the business side because I have a kid that loves the business, that is hungry and wants it?
Yep.
Or do they not want it? Because when I'm talking to agents about succession plan, I always ask, what's your succession? Like, what's your goal?
Do you feel like a lot of people, they don't have that piece in place? Like conceptually you think someday, but you don't really have it in place?
Yeah, what I've really seen
Is there a process to it?
Yes. And what I see is a lot of agents to be like, I'm going to leave it to my family. And I follow up with like, do they want it? Have you ever had that conversation? They're not licensed.
Yeah.
In the Medicare business, you gotta be licensed to get paid.
Right.
So most people, they just want the money. And that is a powerful legacy. And that's where you heard me say today, you can become rich selling insurance. You become wealthy when you sell it.
Yeah.
Because you need to protect your largest asset, which most agents here, their largest asset is their business.
Sure. Building up that book.
Building it up and putting things in place to cover their blind side.
Yep.
Like we sell insurance to protect our clients. Where as an agent, you have to protect your legacy. And that legacy is option 1 or option 2. I'm going to pass it on to a family member that wants it or a key employee and leave that legacy, and then they can buy out my family over time, or sell it when you're ready to actually retire if that's what you want. There's no right way.
And in your business, your expertise, I mean, you consult and guide people through that process to get to the other side and realize that. Like you got a little bit of a system, right?
Yeah. So I actually have, right this second, I have about $29 million under LOI that are all going to close here in the next 3 months because they came to me like, Mike, I'm ready to exit.
Yep.
And and that's where the process is like, here's the process. I'm very process oriented. I have an SOP for almost everything you can think of. And it's just getting them prepared. Like, hey, how do we make this more attractive to the buyer? Because it could be attractive to you, but is it attractive to the buyer?
Yeah.
And pitching it to them. It's like, hey, let's get this ready. And if you're not ready to exit that front, it's like, how do we just protect your biggest asset around?
It's a piece of the business that for any agent, any agency is a possibility if they're addressing it right, bringing in the talent, mentoring and growing the talent in the business, and then finding an exit strategy that can be lucrative and very fulfilling to the legacy as you define it. So Mike, thanks so much for participating in today's session, being part of the Financial Security Forum, sitting down for our chat today. It's always great to see what you're doing, and we're looking forward to always working with you on this and other great ventures.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
Absolutely, Mike.